So we are here at 914Cares in Westchester, New York. Actually, we are in White Plains, New York. And so north of the city, and we are west of the coolest state, which is, of course, Connecticut. But we are here at 914Cares with Jessica, and with Marjorie, and with Lisa, and also with Jennifer from the Alliance for Period Supplies, which is the nationwide alliance of all of these partners, alliance member,
allied programs, we call it. We like to call them, yeah.
Allied programs, excellent. And so, nationwide network that you guys have helped support through our summer direct impact project. And I am in a room full of boxes that look like this. And these boxes, and there's a lot of them. It's lining all of the walls. This is the remnants of the pallets, plural pallets, that were delivered here. 5 pallets delivered here to 914Cares. Each one of them several thousand period supplies, pads on each one. So this one location, I believe, was something like 45,000.
It was over 40,000.
Over 40,000 period supplies here for Westchester County, New York, which is a pretty sizable.
Yeah, Westchester County has almost 1 million people in it. So we're larger than a significant number of cities around the country, but we are a suburb of New York City, and so...
well, let's be honest, New England is a suburb of New York City.
I don't think the folks in New Haven would appreciate that sentiment. But so we do service a significant number of those living in need in Westchester. One of the things that Jennifer and I talked about earlier is being sort of a stepchild of New York City is sometimes difficult because there's so much need, obviously, in the city as well, that the suburbs sometimes get forgotten. So you all thinking of us and giving us this many period products. I mean, it looks really packed in here now, but these will all be gone before 2022.
Yep.
They'll be out into the community.
By the end of the year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you put together supply kits.
Flow kits.
Flow kits. And so what is in a flow kit?
So anywhere between 20 and 30 period products, depending on what the products are and how many we have in stock. Right now we actually have one of our community partners, the Capitol Theater, inside packing flow kits for us. And those kits will have 8 tampons, 8 pads, and 8 liners. So about 24, and it just depends on what we have in stock. Sometimes there's more pads, sometimes there's more tampons. But we actually got a significant amount of guidance last year when we were starting from one of our sister programs, alliances in St. Louis, who helped Marjorie put together the idea about between 20 and 30 products is the right number for a month.
Yeah, to get them through their cycle and really help augment them. The reality, folks, is that while 40,000 period supplies sounds like a lot, when in reality, you're really only helping about 1,200 people.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's good math.
Good 1,200 people. Fast math. 1,200 people for a month.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. And that's the reality that period supplies, which are an essential item for half the population, most states aren't covered by WIC, which...
They aren't covered by WIC at all.
Aren't covered by WIC at all.
Correct.
And they're taxed in over 50 states.
No, they're taxed in now, what is it?
27.
27.
I knew there was 13.
Yeah.
So 23, sorry.
Yeah.
So yes, in over half the states, period products are taxed. And also, they're not free in most states, although a lot of states, thanks to the Alliance, are changing that, especially when it comes to schools, because I'm going to give you numbers. I know these in advance, so don't think I'm good at math.
Give me the numbers.
Okay, so most menstruators start menstruating, let's say, in 7th grade, okay, and you menstruate for, let's say, 4 days a month. So students who menstruate will miss 4 days a month of school if they don't have period supplies. Most states have 10 months of school, so that's 40 days of school that they miss every year. Then you go for the 6th year, 7th, 8th through 12th. So you're talking about 240 days that a student menstruator will miss over the boys who don't menstruate. And that's like a significant amount of loss of education.
For the entire school year.
It's 40 days of school year, but in their entire menstruation period while they're in school, it's almost a full school year. Sorry,
almost a full school year when you tally it all up. It's just you didn't have 10th grade.
The learning decline is shown to be significant.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have better information.
Yeah, of course. And I think that you're doing amazing, and I think that we are really, truly an honor to work alongside with organizations like 914Cares. So the Alliance for Period Supplies, as we had mentioned, is a national nonprofit organization that supports over 130 individually operated nonprofit organizations that help to distribute period products to people who most need them. And so like you're talking about, right, we're talking about distribution of period supplies, but what is also very important is to advocate for removing tampon tax, for making sure that period supplies are available for free in school so that students aren't missing school. Right. And so we are really, again, honored to work alongside you and for you contacting us and doing this generous donation. So we really appreciate it.
And we're thrilled to do it because it's one thing to just donate on a thing. It's a whole other to elevate an issue and shine a light on it, and people realize, wait a minute, that's taxed? Wait a minute, how are they not free?
Yeah.
The nation of Scotland actually just made period supplies free for all citizens forever.
New Zealand as well.
Right.
So it can be done.
Right, yeah, and yes, and I would say that Scotland is probably the size of maybe New York-ish. So it's a lot.
It's a little easier, admittedly. The entire population of New Zealand is probably only about 3 million.
Right. So, but it is possible, right? So here in the United States, we are making great progress in doing that, right? So recently, California just passed a law providing free period supplies in elementary and schools all the way up to college.
Which is
so we are making progress, but it just works differently here in the U.S. And so that's why we are working with our over 130 nonprofit organizations to help do that in every state.
Yeah, and it's vital for people who menstruate who work because you can't miss work.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to choose between food and period supplies,
and
you're going to choose food, but then you lose 4 days of work.
Right. Exactly.
Which makes it harder to make a decision between period supplies or food because you have less money. Because you're typically an hourly wage worker.
Yeah. I mean, the other interesting thing about New York, so New York was one of the first states to make period supplies free in 5th through 12th grade schools. But we were just talking before we got on film, we were talking about the pandemic and how a lot of that's come out of the pandemic is actually folks noticing poverty in general. But in New York, one of the things that really got lost in the shuffle was that students who had relied since 2016 on having free period products were no longer in school, especially in the school districts where there's the most need. Those school districts were not live at all or in person at all. And so we sort of fell back into, almost pre-2016 laws only because the districts were just trying to get the kids educated and sometimes get food on the table when they could. Period supplies were sort of very down on their list. And so we saw an excessive need last year, especially for students.
Yeah, and organizations have been really, really fortunate to be able to get donations like this, but then also provide those period supplies in things like food drives. So for students who couldn't go to school and get these products, right, they would be able to put them alongside their lunch for the day. They would also put together some flow kits or some other period kits that they were able to bring home, not only for themselves but for their families too. So a lot of our organizations have become very innovative in their strategy on distributing these period products, even through the pandemic. And so there's some awesome things that you guys are doing. So,
well, I want to finish off with one little story. So we've done the Direct Impact Project now for several years, and we have some very nice, impressive, big numbers. Tens of thousands of pairs of socks for the homeless. We've done winter hats. We've done scarves. We're at, I think, 2.7 million fun, cool kids Band-Aids for kids going through medical treatments and whatnot, like Iron Man Band-Aids, better than bound ones.
Oh, yeah.
So much more fun. Bring a smile. But we've done a lot of these direct impact projects, and they've been wildly successful. Our groups love them, and they're a lot of fun. But when we did the sock drive, which ended up being like a world record, like it was the largest sock drive ever. I was delivering socks to New York City, to the Bowery Mission in New York City, and one of our staff at actually, hey, when you're stopping by these shelters, here's a couple of bags of period supplies that I had just underneath my cabinet in my bathroom. Can you just drop these off at one of the shelters? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll just toss them in the back of the van and yeah, no problem. I'm at the Bowery Mission. I'm delivering the socks, and two women came up, homeless women came up, and they were looking like, what do you got there? And we've got socks. They're like, oh, socks. Yeah, can I have some socks? I'm like, I'm about to take them inside, but you know what? I'll do some on-the-spot distribution right here to two individuals who are asking for socks. Sure, here's it. You want 6 pair, 8 pair, 12 pair? Okay, great. And then one of them glanced over at the two little bags sitting in the corner of the van, and she goes, are those pads? I go, yeah. Do you guys need pads? Yes. Take what you need. Both each one of them grabbed a bag. Mm-hmm. We need them. And I was like, they are yours. And it was at that moment I was like, we need to do period supplies. Mm-hmm. Because more than socks, they treasured the bag of period supplies more than anything else.
Right, yeah.
And so I am thrilled that the Alliance for Period Supplies is doing the amazing work that you're doing, and that you've got incredible alliance partners doing the work on the ground. So thank you guys so much for what you do.
Thank you for what you do. You really, truly made a difference in the lives of thousands of menstruators in Westchester. So thank you. Thank you to everyone out there who participated, but thank you for initiating it.
Yeah. So good job, guys. You rock.
Yay.
And we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.